Hello there, and welcome back to the Quarantine Podcast, Episode 4. This podcast series is brought to you by RedWiz, a NIFTUM student startup, and Prakriti, an environmental society of NIFTUM. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce our guest of today's episode. We have with us today a very inspiring personality with us, Mr. Anupam Raghuvanshi. Mr. Anupam Raghuvanshi is a mentor, career strategist, aptitude and behavioral trainer, motivational as well as TEDx speaker. He has a vast experience in diverse domains, like he has worked as a manager in Indian Tourism and Development Corporation. He has worked as a strategist in UNICEF. He also has been a researcher at Japan International Welfare Association. He is a visiting professor at various MBA colleges, an owner of Career Helpline, a director of Time Varanasi, Chairman of Career Counseling and E-Learning Cell at Rotary International. We welcome you, sir, on our show. We are very delighted to have you today.
Sir, it brings great delight for me also to talk to all of you, and I hope I'll be able to add some values to this conversation.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, my first question is to be you have been a researcher and a professor. You run a career helpline, and you are the director of Time Varanasi, and you are also a chairperson at Rotary International. How's the journey, and how do you manage this much of work at a single time as a single person?
Well, it's been fantastic with it. See, it's all about those people, in fact, who always crave to find their real, profile, what exactly they really want to do in life. And unless you find a proper purpose of your life or the real purpose of your life, certainly. So I was always the person who looked forward to the purpose rather than the goals. The goals could be something, in fact, like which if you said, and for a lot of people, in fact, it is goals actually. But I would be putting myself in those lists of people who always were searching the purpose. So between the goals and the purpose, in fact, the difference is totally. I mean, students can also adhere to this or can listen and phrase out what exactly is their type. That the goal is something that requires a lot of your brain, more of your brain, I would say. And the brain keeps on processing the information that you keep on getting regarding career, life, whatever. And the brain tells you to focus on a particular thing, in fact, and then you, and that is the goal, in fact, that you're focusing at. And then you try and achieve, in fact, over a period of time. However, the people, in fact, those who are driven totally by their heart, they actually have more of a feel rather than a tangible appeal to their achievement. So, basically speaking, in fact, like in the modern world, the humans will be largely demonstrated through the value of money. But the people who are driven by their hearts, in fact, will be more talking about the purpose of their life.
Right.
So one of the things that I very commonly speak about in my sessions in a lot of universities all across India, that include the IT clients, is that the greatest purpose of life is to have a purpose.
Right.
So the moment you realize that this is something that is giving you a greater feel despite of, irrespective of what kind of money you're getting, where exactly you are and what you're doing, then I think, in fact, you're more, going towards a purpose. And searching for a purpose is more like, being a journey. And searching for a goal is more like talking about the destination. I was more of a journey person, in fact, and it all started to happen.
Right. Very well said, sir. So, sir, does the Rotary work with student groups as well?
Yes, of course. Like Rotary works a lot with the student groups, in fact. You understand Rotary, it's a very novel organization, it's a very, very beautiful concept, very old organization, starting from Chicago and right now, like all over the world, those of people who are Rotarian. And if you reckon, in fact, then in any city, the best of the most proven people in their own professions and careers, and the professionals also, like doctors and architects and engineers, professors, businessmen, entrepreneurs, they basically are the Rotarians. In fact, Rotary basically is an elevated group of people, in fact, who have a proven track record in their own field. But Rotary is not restricted to these professionals, and the activities of these professionals is not only to come in a meeting, in fact, and then to marry around or to celebrate the times, but it is all about thinking about the society. So if you see polio, now the greatest act of Rotary has been the eradication of polio.
Okay.
So if you can attribute in the entire world one of the greatest ever things happening to mankind in the modern times, done by an organization, it is the eradication of polio single-handedly by Rotary. And that is what Rotary has done. But there are a lot of millions of projects all across the globe where the Rotarians contribute their own money, their own time, their own expertise and excellence, and they come up to provide a lot of solutions to the community level problems or healthcare problems and all those things that is happening. Rotary also has a wing for the ladies and another wing for the school children. So there are Rotaract and Interact clubs, which in your city, in your college also, if you talk to your city Rotarians, whoever they are, in fact, the sergeants or the governors, and you can start a club within the college itself. And the best part is that if you can start the club, then definitely every year there is a Rotary fellowship, and scholarships given to some of the students to travel abroad and to be in certain projects. And it is all done free of cost with the help of the Rotarians.
Okay, that's quite interesting.
So a lot of schools, this is very interesting actually. A lot of schools and colleges have absolutely no idea about the Rotaract and Interact clubs that can be started in the schools and college levels. And the students, in fact, with some level of expertise, they can work with the community. They can get a certificate which has a global value. Like do internships with a lot of who's who of that city or maybe outside also. If they come in close contact with the Rotarians, and also that they get a chance to travel abroad, on various projects where there is a fellowship or a scholarship given in fact to the students there from the Rotary side.
Oh, sir, that will be a very good opportunity for students.
Yes, so your college also, you're doing this initiative, which is a fantastic initiative. You never know, talking to somebody like me, at least you came across an information, at least in fact, which can be used or put to use for somebody who can be a beneficiary in the coming times.
Right, sir.
So all you need to do is just find the Rotary club and who are the presidents of the club, and there is a governor of the club of that region. So you either find there could be multiple clubs in a city, and each of the clubs will have a president. So find some influential president.
Okay.
Usually the Rotary presidents are all again very high class professionals, doctors, engineers, architects, and professionals, professors. So you can just find one of these, meet with them, and then to ask them how exactly can you start a Interact or a Rotaract club in your college. And then a lot of activities will be coming in, because right now what is going to happen is post COVID-19 there will be a lot of CV upgrade that will be required by the students.
Right.
I mean, if you think that pre-2020 January, if you were to receive a CV which was 100%, post-COVID scenario, the same 100% pre-COVID scenario would not be more than 60 to 65%. So what exactly will be the leakage, or what exactly will be the thing that is wanted in the extra 35% that I'm talking about? So what I'm talking about is like Rotary also could be definitely one of the greatest platforms in terms of providing you with a certificate or an internship with the people whom you don't know, because the moment you meet a Rotarian, like you're meeting me, so if somebody meets me here, as the chairman of the cell, in fact, definitely I'm connected to thousands of Rotarians who are all acclaimed people in the industry. So if you can just meet in your cities or in your places, then definitely you can get hooked up. You can pass one CV and it can pass on to like 50 or people, and you never know where your personality lies. And this also could be, there could be so many, I'm sure, in fact, you'll be asking questions about that, but this also could be one of the things, in fact, to upgrade your CV.
Right, sir. We'll definitely look after it.
Yes, sir. So that we can come to the next question. So, from where did your journey of time has started actually? And along with your journey, is there anything you wish to didn't do, like you wanted to do but you are not able to do it?
No, so my journey was very interesting. I've been working with the UNICEF project with Japan International Welfare Association, that was directly working with the government of Japan and Institute of Developing Economies in Tokyo, and JETRO was the Japanese Education and Trade Research Organization. So a lot of projects. In fact, I've traveled the world. I've traveled to around 48 countries worldwide, in fact, mostly in related projects. And so when I was like getting a lot of foreign postings, in fact, and I decided to hand my books and settle down. And when I thought about this, I never wanted to settle down in a city like Mumbai or Delhi or Bangalore with all sort of problems, but my city, Varanasi, because there was a lot of city connect, and somewhere I could see, like there are three things you need to understand first. First is, for the students, in fact, I'm saying, I mean, answering to your question, but I'll be digging more deep, in fact, to make the context clear of what I'm going to say.
Okay, sir.
So there are, I mean, when you say you are educated, basically there are, this education thing is not a single term, or at least it should not be understood as a single term, but in a layered term. So what are the layers of that being educated means? The first one, of course, is the education, the knowledge that you gain from a systemic setup called a school or a college. But, like 95% of the students in India, the problem is, and I think this problem has to be addressed because post-COVID challenges of recruitment and career will be bigger and greater. So
Right.
in India, 95% of students, in fact, like they only have adhered to one thing called as education and knowledge through education alone. And which means, in fact, they have just been layered once. Now, even if you get a CGPA of 9.8 out of 10 or maybe 90%, which is a very, very high at the college level, you still may not be, and in all possibility, you may not be somebody, in fact, who is, competent enough to grab a job. Or maybe like a company might find you who can pursue the excellence, and you're not selected. Still, there'll be one aptitude test. You may get a 9.8 GPA, but you cannot qualify the test. And if you can qualify the test, maybe you are not able to qualify the personality test, which is like clearing the interviews and making a mark of your persona while you sit on somebody, in fact, website of table. Now, what I'm trying to say is, the first layer is education, which the Indian students go through. The second layer is exposure, which very few percentage of students, and that too, not because of the colleges, because colleges provide you co-curricular setups like in your final year or third year you have to go for a industry internship.
Right.
But this is not something which is out of a choice, but out of a given. That means like this is what you have to know. If you've done, if you're like doing your mechanical engineering, then you'll be going into a mechanical kind of work. But I may have found in my second year that my real mojo in life is, my real charming subject in my life is economics. And despite the fact that I'm an engineering student, in fact, like maybe I'm very, very good in coding. In fact, I'm giving a run for the money to my computer science students in my college.
Oh.
I'm very good in R and Python and everything. But you will not be accepted by those kind of companies. So the exposure thing, which is the second layer of your being intelligent or being learned, never takes place in over 95-96% of students. And the third layering is experience. Now, experience is not without your exposure. Now, if there is a willful exposure and then you live through that exposure, then you get an experience. But if you just go to a new place and whatever happened in the science is lapsed, it is not something that will left you with an experience, but maybe with an information. So, what is required is layering to be called as an intellectual person, to be, marked as a person who can make a right decision today and maybe in future for the companies as well. So, education, exposure, and experience, these are the three things in fact that will happen. So now when I was exposed to the whole world and to the global systems of working with the foreigners and different countries, and I found out that this is not the right place for me, and definitely I went back to my city, Varanasi. And then definitely what would you do? So I had projects, in fact, every 2 months, 3 months, where I have to go out for 15 days, 10 days, to different places and countries, in fact, and take a lot of money. Money was not the issue, but it was what are you doing? There was nothing attentive, sustained. Then time came in picture, and 2007, we just got hooked up. In fact, and I thought of this is something which is closest to mine. And by that time, I started loving mentoring.
Okay.
Mentoring is something like a passion. In fact, mentoring can never be a career. I would say, in fact, so if you really find a real mentor or a good mentor, or maybe somebody, in fact, who's competent enough as a mentor, then definitely these are not the people, in fact, who can reckon that they are having a career. But they'll be like too passionate of people, in fact, I would say. Those who just sail through the path of life, in fact, which is their own career as a mentor. So I started to like because I was taking classes here and there, in fact, whenever I was in Delhi. And I really enjoyed it, and the kids enjoyed it. I mean, the students used to literally enjoy it. The students from IIT Delhi and some of the top colleges of Delhi.
Okay.
So I thought of like giving a shot, and then I came up with this idea of bringing time here. In fact, the time came, and ever since, like, we have from Time Varanasi last 13 years, over 470 plus students who are in IIM right now.
Wow.
So yes, and over 180 people who went abroad and got for their higher education, and out of which some 53, 54 got 100% funding. So a lot of things were done in that front as well. But as I say, in fact, it's not only me, but there's a very competent team of people like you, passed out of IITs, IIMs, and all good colleges, in fact, and they're working together.
Right. So this brings me to another very interesting question. You have studied in India and New York as well. So what's the difference do you think exists in the education system as well as the working culture in India and outside the India as well?
This is a very good question, actually, you asked, in fact. So if you go on to an Ivy League college, or maybe, like, let me give you some statistics.
Okay.
And I'm not demeaning our education system. I really love my country and everything is fine, but at least we should be having, the spine straight enough, in fact, to say what is wrong, and or what is not right is not right.
Right.
So in India, if you take the cognizance of the top 500 universities of the world, or the institutions of the world, then the best Indian institution is ranked right now at 283rd position, which is IISc Bangalore.
Okay.
Now just imagine a country which produces maximum amount of PhDs anywhere in the world,
Okay.
and it boasts about its higher education. It has a lot of people who are working in the greatest of the institutions like NASA, or the best of the places like Silicon Valley, and making a difference to the whole world, is actually having its best institution ranked at 283rd position. And in top 500 there are just 3. So this makes us think, what exactly, are these only numbers? If you ask me, who has had the chance of seeing the best side of the both worlds, and I can tell you that when you get educated, like in India, in good institutions, you find the institutions are very good because of the students.
Right.
I would be like wanting to bring you out to make it more clearer and more attached to what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
In India is a shlok from Subhashit Manjari, which is from 7.1, which reads as Acharyat Padma Dattai Padam Shishya Sametraya Kalein Padma Dattai Padam Sakamitaridhe, which means that the learning is divided in 4 different quadrants.
Okay.
The first quadrant of learning requires a guru.
Right.
The second quadrant of learning requires the mental faculty of a student, that when a very good guru teaches something, then the student, like the student, should make it in his own mind. He should not only consume and absorb, but he should also make it transact in his own mind. The third is the students around. That means everybody like you who has transacted in his own mind what he learned from a good guru should discuss. Manya Shastrarth hota tha, you understand that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what was this Shastrarth? The discussions. But
Right.
the discussions of today, I'll be pointing it out, in fact, socially, individually. And the fourth is, when you gain a knowledge in this particular manner, then what happens is you apply that knowledge, you applicate that knowledge. Now, listen to what I said earlier.
Okay.
Knowledge, exposure, and experience, right?
Right,
So
sir.
what exactly I was trying to say was, the guru can only give you knowledge, plain knowledge.
Right, sir.
Right? It means nothing when that knowledge doesn't exposes you to
Hmm.
find the better dimension of what you have learned. In India, mostly what students know is what has been told to them or what is written in their books.
Right, sir.
How many people, in fact, would be researching more on that, or maybe challenging that knowledge, or maybe trying to come up with questions or inquiry-based learning? It doesn't happen. So when you see this, it is rather unfortunate fact. I've been to some of the greatest universities in the world in terms of staying there for 10 days, 5 days, 7 days, 15 days of my workshop and seminars and different academic setups. So what happens is, like, we have forgotten what systemic values that we had in terms of learning, but the foreign institutions basically work on these models.
Hmm.
What was written in Subhashit like some thousands of years ago in India, which has been a part of the Gurukul system in India,
Hmm.
is absolutely forgotten in
Right,
India, and is absolutely, I mean, this is remarkable. This is very amusing also. I mean, I don't know whether they follow the Vedic system or they just follow the best system. They've evolved it, and once they've evolved it, we can say that we evolved it few thousand years back.
Right.
So why the hell, in fact, are we not implementing it? So that is a problem. So there is a huge gap. They are not better. They are what we were. And definitely when you say India सोने की चिड़िया थी, सोने का चिड़िया था कभी, तो सोने की चिड़िया एक concept है. सोने की चिड़िया कुछ होती नहीं है, but it is all about, in fact, the people, when everything is optimized, when each and everything around you is optimal. So when education is optimal, definitely it will be creating the best of the students, and the best of the students will create best of Samaj. That is what can make us सोने का चिड़िया.
Right.
So there
Right.
is a systemic huge gap between when you talk about the Ivy League colleges of the world vis-a-vis of India. Huge.
Right, sir. So it's a very unique and eye-opening insight about education system.
Mhm.
Like we are discussing so much now, but like maybe if you will do something else, according to you, what should be the ideal education system for India?
Well, there is nothing called as ideal. Like, you have to understand. The moment you say ideal, you limit yourself to something that you know already. Now, we
Okay.
are living in a world which is absolutely evolving, and the present times has ensured and also enforced that this change is going to be multi-dimensional, multi-directional, and also, in fact, multi-layered. And the worst part is we are not even aware of what these directions and layers would be. Like, online learning will come, but I'm absolutely against online learning. Why? Because, in fact, the most important features of learning that should come to a person who is a learner will never be coming through the online learning. It will be only information.
Right, sir.
Where is empathy? Where is communication skills? Where is that grooming of personality? Where is critical thinking? Where is analytical skills? Where is problem solving? Where is interpersonal communication? So that is not happening. So I'm absolutely against. But if it is forced, then we need to evolve. So
Yeah.
in a phase of life when you are evolving, we cannot set our dimensions or set our focus onto something called as ideal. I think this has been the problem of India. That for a long time we have always looked up to the West,
Right.
thinking that that is ideal. So whatever our colleges have done, whatever our institutions have done, they have never. I mean, how many institutions you follow, which is working on an indigenous model, which is working on a model that is absolutely crafted out of their own intelligence?
Very
We
few.
don't have it.
Yeah.
Mostly what you have is what they do in the West. But the problem in transferring the intellect is that even if all you can transfer is systems and technology and operational structures around you and create an ecosystem, but किसी शरीर को बना करके उसमें आप आत्मा नहीं डाल सकते.
Right.
That is what happens. So when this system is there in West, it works very well because the people who are a part of that system, they understand the system organically. Wherein, when you bring that system here, then definitely that organic feel, since it is missing, definitely the system doesn't work. And क्योंकि आप जाहिर सी बात है, आप किसी को ऑर्गेनिकली वो संवेदना लोगों के भीतर से नहीं कर सकते.
Right,
आप
sir.
जो कार्य कर सकते हैं वो कर सकते हैं कि आप उस सिस्टम को ला के आना सकते. It's like having a computer without software to run it. So if
Right.
you have bought a computer and there is absolutely no Windows on it or no iOS on it, then definitely how would it work? exactly the same thing happens.